Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Candid Convos. Today's guest is Alina Núñez. Alina, would you mind telling people a little bit about yourself and what you do?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I always like to do these type of different things and kind of just, talk and get an idea of what's going on out there and share my experience and my side. So my name is Alina Núñez. I am an attorney here in Miami, Florida. I have been an attorney for about the last 18 years, and my practice specializes in real estate and title closing services. So if you're going to buy a house, sell a house, or a property, I'm the person you go to. Also, we do estate planning, helping you get your will done, all your documents in order. And then we do probate administration. That's when the person dies and distributing their assets and all of that. So yeah, those are pretty much the areas that we handle here. And I love it because whether it's your first time experience of buying a new home or you're unfortunately lost a loved one, like we really feel we're helping people through some of the most difficult or exciting times of their life.
Mm-hmm. Well, uh, like it sounded sort of like a bittersweet sensation because I mean, it's not that it's a bad thing, but when you're helping someone through that transition on a difficult moment in their life when they lost a loved one, and like it should, is it draining in one way or another?
It is very draining.
Mm-hmm.
It is very draining on many different levels. Um, you deal with a lot of emotions of your clients, whether they lost a loved one through a disease, through something suddenly. It kind of hits home, and it's definitely hard. And then if that process of having to go through the probate, oftentimes, unfortunately, it divides the family that stays behind, as I say, the sons, the daughters, if they didn't leave, if the person who passed didn't leave things written out, what their desires were, their wishes. I see a lot of siblings and family members get torn apart through the process, fighting over money, fighting over a house. So it is very draining, but it is extremely rewarding because just today, just a few minutes ago, I was speaking to one of my probate clients, and she is one, unfortunately, that is having a difficult time with a sibling after having lost their father. And she told me, she's like, you really have no idea how much I really appreciate everything you've done for me through this process. And that really, it means a lot because a lot of people have a misconception, oh, lawyers are greedy or lawyers are this. And it depends, but that's what I like with what I do is that it really, the areas of law that I practice, it really is helping someone through their most vulnerable time. But it can be draining, but also very rewarding. So it's a mix.
It could be kind of draining, but at the same time, that's one of the things. Like my guests know that I really love and admire lawyers, and the thing that I like about them is that they're problem solvers.
Yeah.
So when you were telling that story about a person that just recently lost a parent, and I know where that's coming from because it's a horrible position. Like I don't know, maybe you as a practicing attorney might not have dealt with something like this personally, like you
Oh,
yourself.
I have. I've lost my father.
Well, no, but what I meant was not having any idea of what to do next.
Oh, absolutely. Even when you're in it, sometimes it's funny because when we're in that situation, even though this is what we do for a living, I find myself that, when I was in that situation, I definitely could resonate with my clients because although, yes, I knew the steps I had to take, you're dealing with that overwhelming grief and that whole emotional side of it. And unfortunately, like I tell my clients, the world doesn't stop. The world doesn't let us grieve and feel our pain. It keeps moving, and you need to deal with these. That's what I'm there for. Let me do that for you so that you can grieve and you can deal with your emotions. Let me deal with the process and what has to be done from a legal standpoint.
Wow. So honestly, from my point of view, it sounds like you've gained a lot from your legal career and something that also like kind of prepared you for your own personal struggles in life. But I'm wondering, is this what you envisioned when you started going to when you went to law school, or how was it back then?
Well, funny story. I didn't always want to be a lawyer. In fact, okay, so when I was much younger, I did say at one point that I wanted to be a lawyer. And I always said I wanted to do criminal law. Why? Because it's what we see on TV. We see Law and Order. We see, all these shows and the people are there. You see them in the courtroom and objection. And that's what people see and fantasize what lawyers do. That's not reality. But in my mind, that's what I had. And then as I was in high school and even college, I said, no, I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be an actress. And I quickly realized, though, yeah, I like expensive things. And being a starving actress.
It's kind of
So I said, you know what? Let me go back to my original of what I wanted to do and go to law school. And yeah, so but once I got through law school, I realized criminal law maybe wasn't what I wanted to do because it's not like what you see on TV. And I have been doing real estate for years. It's kind of what I just kind of fell into with the first law firm I worked at. And like I said, I really enjoyed it because again, I'm an immigrant. I am from I'm Cuban American, and we all have that dream as immigrants of coming to America and having a piece of the American dream and being able to sit there at a closing table when, especially here in Miami, that we're all a big population of Latinos, Hispanic, Cuban, Venezuelan, Colombiano, Mexican, everything, to be able to sit there and have this person sign papers where they're buying their first home, they're buying their piece of the American dream. And
That's nice. It's you couldn't do it if you didn't. But
yeah.
now I'm wondering for also like the lawyers that are in the same position or like are in one of the different chapters of the path that you've taken. That some of them right might be right there next to you, some of them might be beginning. So you started practicing or even working with law about 18 years ago, and then you started focusing your practice 8 years ago. So you were able to live this way before there was a this whole let's do things virtually, because now I
Oh yeah.
know like lawyers tend to, well, not everybody, but many of the lawyers I've gotten the opportunity to meet and also to interview, they really like this whole virtual setup. So we no longer have to do many things face to face. Some of them are practicing from other countries. Like everything is doing remote, automated as much as possible. You were right in the middle, and before that happened. So what was it like for you? And what's your position towards that? Are you more virtual? Are you more in-house? Are you 100% hybrid?
No, we are definitely more in-house, in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what I do love about the what happened through COVID and the whole pandemic and forcing us to kind of step outside of our box, definitely when it comes to the court side, I love that we're virtual. I love that I can, if I have to go in front of a judge, that I can jump on the computer. I can do it by Zoom while the judge is listening to other cases. I'm here working. I have it on mute. And then it's in my case, I go on and then I'm done and I log off. That to me has been amazing because before I would waste an hour traveling to and from the courthouse, sitting there waiting for the judge to get through their calendar with all their other cases. It was very frustrating to have to go in person. So that part I love. Now, as far as with my clients, we do still see some clients virtually by Zoom. It is something we do offer. With our closings, those are still very much in person. Those are still very much in person. We have to sit down with the clients, go through all the loan documents, do the whole process, get everything signed. The banks still aren't really having those done electronically. So we are definitely very in person. And even with our estate planning, same thing, meeting with the clients, going through signing all their documents. For the probates, those, we are a little bit more virtual. I have clients right now. We just did an estate. There was 10 different heirs involved in 3 different estates. And they were all over the United States. So we would meet by Zoom. We would send them documents and everything. So
Yeah.
it's a
Imagine that
hybrid.
18 years ago.
No, that would have been a nightmare, a nightmare. But my staff, we are, I'd say, 75% in-house. We do have some of our staff that does work virtually. Um, but I do love the fact that for court, that could please stay virtual for forever.
Yeah, you know, I wish that was something that was happening worldwide. I think the justice systems, like overall, would have an amazing improvement. And I agree with you. Like so many people talk about COVID and the pandemic as this thing that it's over, it's not over, it's like the main subject. But it's some sort of like a landmark of everybody got shaken like outside of their comfort zone. Now, there were a few attorneys, however, that started transitioning to doing things virtual. So they didn't take that hit that quite that hard, and they even saw a boost in business depending on the practice area that we're in. But I'm wondering for you, like if someone wants to run a successful estate planning and real estate commercial real estate also like law practice, what kind of setup would you suggest they start with and then they grow up into?
Huh. I mean, it all depends on your demographic and your type of clientele. I find with, as at least with myself, my estate planning, they tend to be older clients. So they're not very keen on the technology and doing things by Zoom. They're old school. They want to come in, they want to sit down, they want to speak to you. So it really depends. I mean, if your clientele or you have your demographic that you're looking for is someone, younger generation, get their estate planning, people who might be in their mid 30s, having, little kids, which is equally as important to have your estate planning done. They might be more of, doing it virtual and whatnot. So it really depends on what your demographic is, but definitely I would suggest having the options and being set up to be flexible and fluid in that respect. And that's what we've done. That's what I say. We offer Zoom, we offer virtual. I have an estate planning client that she lives in Naples, which is about a 2-hour drive from Miami. And we met, and then she'll just come in the day that she has to sign her papers. But I was highly recommended to her. She felt comfortable with me. She's like, I don't care if you're 2 hours from me. We can get everything ironed out. And the day I have to go sign, fine, I'll make a trip out of it. I'll go visit Miami.
Okay, like that's such a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Alina, I want to thank you very much for joining us. I
My
really
pleasure,
enjoyed the
Joe.
conversation. We learned a lot. And if there's anything that you could say to lawyers or aspiring lawyers that want to head into the business, if one final piece of nugget or wisdom, what would that be?
Stay flexible, adapt, go with the changes. Lawyers tend to be kind of in their ways. You think of these stuffy old lawyers and they've been practicing for years and this is the way things are done. No, you need to be able to adapt and think outside the box and stay ahead of the game.
Wow. Well, you heard it, guys. Take her for her advice. 18 years in, there's a reason for that. So I hope to see you 18 more years in the future. Alina, thank you very much and see you on the next time of Candid Convos.
Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate it.